friends, we have a top 10 video today. It has been a minute since I did a top 10 video, but today we're going to be talking about 10 product or brand product launches that were spectacularly bad. As always, gotta start the video off by thanking my Narwhal Nation, my Leesha land. If you would like to join the most supportive and awesome community of beauty people in the land, if you are tired of the drama llama from the YouTube realm, come join Leesha land. There's so many cool people on there, I'm telling you, it is the most awesome community, period. If you want to be on the same level as everyone else and you're tired of the social climbing game that social media can be, come join us. It's super, super awesome. So these are in no particular order, but these are all product launches from beauty brands that just really did not go well. A lot of these products were really hyped, really excited, and then things just went south the second that customers started receiving the product. So let's get into it. First one is actually one where the customers never even received their product, and that is the Glamour Doll Eyes Kickstarter for their Lisa Frank collection. Back in 2016, the indie brand Glamour Doll launched a Kickstarter that was to create a makeup collection featuring iconic Lisa Frank style imagery. The whole collection was meant to be very sparkly, very bright, had rainbow and unicorns and all the things that you remember from your 90s childhood if you're me. They even had some really cool stretch goals on their Kickstarter, like nail polishes that had a unicorn rainbow handle, and they just had a lot of really cool add-ons, and everything about it screamed 90s kid. The way that they launched their Kickstarter, it really made you want to back them and want to support an indie brand. Their Kickstarter ended up getting over 5,900 backers, which is a ton, and it raised over $370,000. The estimated delivery for the collection for the backers was April 2017, and this is where things start to go south. The brand was doing regular updates on their progress with their Kickstarter campaign up until about 2018, and that's when things kind of went completely radio silence. Backers were getting more and more upset. It's pretty normal on Kickstarter from my experience that projects end up taking a lot longer than what their estimated delivery is. I mean, I've had some stuff that I've backed that I got a year after the estimated delivery was. With this collection, it just really seemed like, in addition to not delivering the product, the brand just stopped answering any questions. The last update that their campaign had was in September of 2018. Even to this day, there are people that are still posting on their Kickstarter about how they still haven't received product. And this is going on 3 years after the Kickstarter launched. They've kind of gone radio silent and people are really upset. The thing with Kickstarter is you're backing an idea, not an actual product. So a lot of things can go wrong and you have to kind of think of it more as an investment than actually a physical thing. This is not saying that they get a pass, because they definitely don't, especially since they haven't updated their Kickstarter backers in over a year and a half, which is completely unacceptable. On the comments of their Kickstarter page, there's people saying that they received a couple of products or one product out of everything that they ordered, which I imagine is incredibly frustrating. If you ordered an entire collection and you're receiving one product, one bronzer or one eyeshadow, that's gotta be super disheartening. So I feel bad for all of the people that backed this project. I mean, it's almost 6,000 people who still are waiting on their product that they may never get. The second one we're going to talk about is the Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So this was a really spectacular fail for a lot of reasons. A lot of people were really excited about this new palette coming out from Anastasia. Their eyeshadows had always been a really unique formula and had nice pigmentation, everything like that. But something about the Subculture palette was different from previous palettes. The eyeshadows were very soft, they didn't apply nicely, and once people started getting the product in their hands, YouTube just kind of exploded. And everyone pretty much had the same problems where they couldn't get the eyeshadows to stick to their eyes. The product just kind of puffed up and just left. It didn't actually stick, and it was a huge problem. It even got to the point where anybody that posted a review actually liking the eyeshadow palette, maybe they got a good one, were basically condemned, and people didn't believe them and thought they were sucking up to the brand, which is another form of just cancel culture that needs to go away. Just because someone likes something that is getting bad reviews doesn't mean that they're not telling the truth. The brand responded by saying that they were pulling palettes from all different batches, trying to figure out what the problem was. People just were not using the product correctly. That's kind of what the answer seemed to be. I didn't love that answer because, in my opinion, if you're creating an eyeshadow palette that it needs to be used in a specific way, you should be telling people that. You shouldn't expect people to just know because this is different to use it differently. I've used a lot of Anastasia products before, and yes, their eyeshadows tend to be more on the chalky side, more on the powdery side, less is more kind of. I do remember Subculture, it wasn't even so much about that. It was about that, but it's also just, I couldn't get the eyeshadows to stick to my eyes. This was definitely kind of a disappointment because the eyeshadow colors in that palette were really unique and really almost like 70s couch vibes, if that makes sense. That sounds bad, but it was different. That was definitely not a great moment for Anastasia. Number 3 on our list is the Nikkie Tutorials collection from Too Faced. Nikkie Tutorials came out with a Power of Makeup palette from Too Faced, and she posted a video talking about it, how excited she was about it, showing swatches, and her entire community was so excited. The palette sold over 150,000 palettes, which is a lot. And when customers started receiving the palettes, they started to notice that there was a huge difference in quality compared to the swatches that Nikkie had showed on her video. It seemed like customers were getting a different formula than what Nikkie had shown in her video. Customers were showing that the colors were not blending well, they didn't swatch well, they didn't feel nice, but the video that Nikkie posted showed really buttery, really creamy, highly pigmented products. This ended up being a really big issue because it let a lot of people down. You know, they were excited to get something from Nikkie Tutorials, who's known for having very bold, very bright, very, very pigmented makeup, and then they're getting a product that is subpar. A lot of information came out afterwards about Nikkie's contract with Too Faced and how she was paid a tiny fraction of what the collection actually made, how she couldn't work with other brands for, I believe it was 6 months, and there was just a lot of controversy around it. In the end, I feel like Too Faced got more of the flack than Nikkie did. I know at first there was definitely a lot of flack thrown right at Nikkie, and she, you know, because she's the face of that product. It was her product, and it's getting just a lot of problems, and a lot of people were let down, and that's a really hard thing to deal with. But in the end, after all this information about the contracts and everything came out, Too Faced is really the one who's left looking bad in this situation, which I believe is the right course of action. I feel bad that Nikkie seems to have been sent a different quality than that was released to the public. That's not fair at all. Number 4 on our list is glitter injections. Now this is one that I was debating putting in, but I remember it being a huge deal. This happened about 3 years ago. There was this company called Glitter Injections that sold pressed glitter. This was a really interesting concept, especially at the time there was nothing like this. You could use loose glitter and apply it with a glitter adhesive, and that was pretty much it. I mean, this was before like my Ride or Die Glitter and Glow from Stila and anything else. It was glitter that was mixed with something that it could be pressed in a eyeshadow pan, and then you can apply it with a brush or with your fingers. I had bought some of these and I really liked the idea of them, but relatively soon after people started receiving these, they started to notice that the colors were changing in the pan around the edges, and that there was actually mold growing in their eyeshadows, in their glitter eyeshadows. This became a huge deal, and there was a lot of video posts about it. There was a lot on Twitter, on Instagram. People were really upset that they paid money for this, and then their glitter had freaking mold growing on it. Number 5 on our list is Copycat Beauty. Now, this is a company that their spokesmodel is Bad Baby, Cash Me Outside. The whole company's concept is based on essentially making cheaper versions of high-end makeup brands. They basically advertise that they are making the same products with the same quality and then selling them for a very small fraction of the price. This immediately was something that I think a lot of people, myself in particular, really, it rubbed me the wrong way. First of all, Bad Baby clearly could care less about this makeup brand, and it was very obvious from the get-go that it was a money grab and not something that she was actually passionate about, which is never a good look. Second, I don't think that showing that all you're doing is creating and copying something that someone worked so hard on and just recreating it because you can't think of your own things to make is never going to be a good look, especially if you're advertising. Your name's Copycat Beauty. Third, what is in those products? Because you can make them that inexpensive, you have to still be making a profit. You're not doing this just to give it cheaper because it's cheaper, you have to be using less quality ingredients. So overall, everything about that just is not cute. Not cute at all. Number 6 is Crayola makeup. So many people were excited to see Crayola coming out with a makeup brand because, you know, a lot of us, at least for me, what got me into makeup was using bright colors. So seeing the OG, the #1 crayon brand coming out with makeup sounded really cool. It was something that had the potential to be really cool. I mean, you could have like a mac and cheese eyeshadow color, robin's egg blue. Those are the only two I can think of right now. Unfortunately, the products did not perform at all, and people were really upset. It was really low quality makeup, and it just got a lot of crap. People were incredibly disappointed in all aspects of the Crayola makeup that came out, and it was pretty unfortunate. Number 7 is Kylie Skin. Kylie Jenner came out with a skincare line called Kylie Skin, and people were pretty upset because one of her products is a walnut scrub. Now, walnuts are known to be really abrasive, especially when they're in an exfoliant. There are a lot of different ways to do the same kind of exfoliating that's a lot more gentle on your skin. And walnuts, when they're ground up, can actually cause micro tears in your skin, which is not what you want to do. Kylie Cosmetics has a walnut scrub, and people were really upset and really disappointed to see that. And on top of that, everything that she has been doing to promote this has felt very phoned in. One example of that being that she posted a video that shows her using the product, and she's using a filter on her face, first of all, which already makes me question things, and she washes her face for about 2 seconds. So all that tells me is that even you, who this is your brand, you don't want to put this on your face. That is an issue. All in all, people were not really happy to see her coming out with that, and on top of that, clearly not believing in her product enough to use it. Next up on our list is the Tarte Shape Tape Foundation release. This was... In 2018, Tarte released a foundation line to go hand in hand with their most popular concealer, Shape Tape. They wanted to create a foundation that was just as well performing as Shape Tape. When they released the images of the foundation, and in particular swatches of the foundation, they received an insane amount of backlash. This foundation line was absolutely an insult to anybody who has any form of pigmentation in their skin. The line was the least inclusive line I can possibly think of, and I honestly can't think of what Tarte was thinking when they launched this line. They used the classic, well, we're formulating new colors and they'll be out soon, yada yada, which we all know means that they know that they messed up and they are working their asses to get that stuff out, because why would you launch if you didn't have all of the colors? After Fenty Beauty launched with 40 foundation shades right out the gate, it really changed the entire game of the makeup industry, especially with foundation, which it went in a very good direction. So Tarte to come out with colors where most of them look like almost the same shade with a different undertone is really insulting. This was extra bad because Tarte came out with 2 different formulas for their Shape Tape foundation, a hydrating line and a matte line, but their foundation shade range was really, really bad. Later, they announced that they were going to be adding 10 more shades to their foundation line, but people still weren't happy, especially because they launched before having their full 25 shade range. Number 9 on our list is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collaboration for The Vault. This was a collaboration that launched almost exactly 2 years ago and included 4 eyeshadow palettes from Morphe that were created by Jaclyn Hill. They all had a different color story, and a lot of people were very excited about this because they trusted Jaclyn Hill, they loved her makeup, they loved her style, and because of the success of the first Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe, they were expecting the same quality from The Vault. Little did they know that that was not going to be the case. Jaclyn had a meet and greet in Vegas where people were able to pre-purchase her Vault collection before it was available to the public. And also, influencers were sent the collection by Morphe. Very quickly, reviews were coming in from influencers and from people who got the palettes early that the quality was not there at all. A lot of the colors were very chalky, did not have good quality, and before Morphe even launched to the public, they recalled the palette and said that it needed more formulation and they needed to recreate them. Morphe blamed inconsistent production for the reasons why there was chalkiness in the palette, and a lot of people did not like that answer. They ended up saying that this is something that they should have caught quickly, and that even in Jacqueline's reveal video, there were issues that you could see when she swatched the products. In the end, a lot of people ended up respecting the fact that Morphe was willing to lose a lot of money by recalling these palettes, by trashing the ones that didn't work and reformulating it. They felt that it showed good faith on Morphe's part for respecting their customer, and Jacqueline's part for respecting her fan base and realizing that a product was not as good quality as it could be. This brings us into the final product launch we're going to talk about today, and it's, you guessed it, the Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics lipstick launch. This is the latest catastrophe in the dumpster fire that is the beauty community on YouTube, and boy oh boy, is it a catastrophe. Last month, Jaclyn Hill announced that she was finally launching her brand Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics, or Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm not really sure what it's called now. She would be launching her cosmetics line with a line of nude lipsticks because she felt like she could never find the perfect nude. The lipsticks launched and so many people were on the website that it ended up having a lot of issues with people checking out, being able to purchase everything. I kind of sat back and watched because I'm not a big lipstick fan, so this was never anything that I wanted to get my hands on, but boy, let me tell you, the views I could have got. Once people started receiving their lipsticks, it became very apparent that there were a lot of issues with the way that these were made. People were having issues with the lipsticks melting, finding holes in the lipstick. Some people even found fibers on the lipsticks. Some people found fibers growing out of the lipsticks. There's just been a whole big ball of controversy with these. Initially, when people first started saying that they were having issues, Jaclyn was very, very defensive, saying that it was a user error, it was not her lipsticks. And after more and more reviews came out and more people spoke up, it became very apparent that this was not a one user issue. This was definitely an issue with her products. People have shown them under microscopes. People have shown what they look like after just swatching one time and how they look like an old, dirty, used lipstick. People are showing these giant balls of clumped up oils that are just in the lipsticks, hair that is embedded in the lipsticks. There's just a lot of issues that are going on here, and it has caused a really big controversy and a really big problem in the beauty community. Jaclyn came out and did a video basically blaming the lab that she went to and saying that they were wearing cotton gloves, which is what the fibers are. A lot of people who have worked in cosmetics and in just industry lines and labs have said that that is not something that happens ever. They've never seen anybody wear cotton gloves or clean out the machines with specific towels that would leave fibers. There's just a lot of people who are not believing her story, but she's really sticking to it. Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics has said that if anyone has any issues with their products, that they can email their customer service and get a refund, but they do need to pay for shipping on the return. So, moral of the story, people are not happy. It is a big mess. I do not know where you go from here if you were Jaclyn Hill, because she has had multiple issues with product launches in the past, and this is pretty much the cherry on top of the shit show. So there's my list of 10 product launches that were spectacularly failures and just a mess. Leave any others that you can think of in the comments below. I know this is not nearly all of them. These are just the ones that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for following, subscribing, liking. Check us out on Twitch. We're on Twitch 4 days a week. Just shenanigans all around. Shenanigans, buffoonery, lots of fun. If you're interested, feel free to join Leesha Land. We would love to have you. Check out our Discord. Thank you, Lisa, for being my rainbow narwhal. Woo! And I'll see you guys next time.